My guest for today is a Hollywood-based hairstylist who specializes in balayage, color corrections, and color melting. She began training in 2006 through a regional occupational program when she was 16 years old, and natural hair tone specialty has been her specialty. Her strong desire to learn led her to travel the country attending educational events taught by stylists that inspire her most. She is on the Manic Panic professional team as pro ambassador and loves to color wigs as much as she loves to wear them. When you see her, she will most likely be rocking one of her custom melted wigs. You can find her at Briza Is on Instagram. And my guest for today is Briza Garcia. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Yeah, of course. That's really cool. So you're on the Manic Panic professional team, huh?
I love Manic Panic. Yeah, they feel
How long
like
have you
family
been
to
with
me.
them? How long have you been
I
with them?
started officially in January at ICE last year in 2019. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You
I
guys,
love them.
I have to say, at all the hair shows, you guys really stand out. We always know like who the Manic Panic people, like your team is, you know?
hmm
All your colors and everything that you guys do really, really stand out. I feel like Manic Panic always stood out, as far as the color.
Manic Panic is like OG. Like
Yeah,
like they've been around forever and they've just like been really traditional and I just really respect them a lot.
yeah.
Sorry, the thing was on your face. I had like this like little notice. I was like, what is it doing there? I just exited out of it. I can see you now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
That's okay. So, where are you from originally?
I'm from La Puente in West Covina, California.
Oh, very cool. So, what
Yeah.
did your mom and dad do for a living when you were growing up?
Well, my dad was a butcher my whole life, which is interesting because I was vegan for 8 years. I'm not 100% vegan right now. I wish I was, but I'm influenced by like just I let myself be influenced to not be 100%, but I try to honor veganism as often as I can. But my dad's a butcher his whole life, ever since he was 17, and then my mom, she's uh, I don't actually don't even know where she's at. No,
Okay.
but like I was really close to her my whole life until a couple of years ago she just disappeared on us. But she has her own issues. She
Right. So,
has seven
what
kids
type?
with 7 kids. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I was like, ooh, she's like, if you ask me about my parents, I'm sorry. Just kidding.
So, well, what types of things did you do when you were growing up for fun?
Oh, I was able to do whatever I wanted. Yeah, my parents were like never strict with me, so I was able to do whatever I wanted. I got everything out of my system real young, and I started working like professionally in a salon when I was 19.
Wow. Very cool. So, you
Yeah.
knew what you wanted to do pretty much right off the bat, you think?
Yeah, I was behind in my credits, so cosmetology was an ROP program, and I was able to make extra credits through it, and I just loved it. Like I loved everything about it.
Yeah. So, what was your first love when you started doing hair? Was it color?
It was flat ironing.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm Hispanic, so my family has like crazy curly hair, right, and
Yeah.
frizzy. So like I just really enjoyed flat ironing my cousin's hair, my sister's hair. It just made them feel good. It made them like really love their hair because I knew how bad it was to have frizzy hair. I hated having frizzy hair, so having it straight was like it was like unreal, you know. And I did it with the curling iron.
Yeah, and the truth is, it is really quite a transformation if you have really curly hair to straight. So yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, and it was always a challenge because their hair's so kinky and it's like just never straightening it and then using the curling iron and then I was just putting some work in. I was spending hours on their hair. I was like, okay,
Right.
let's take a break, I'll come back.
Yeah. Hopefully they were
Like
paying you because
sweat.
when you first do it, your family never pays you, right?
No, 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 they don't pay me. They don't pay me, but they actually give me the most criticism.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They give you the most like honest opinions. They're just like, oh, what's wrong with this? Like you did something wrong right here. Like fix it.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like you learn the best that way through the family members that you're really close to.
right. So
Mhm.
what types of things inspire you and inspire your work?
So I was always inspired by like things that looked impossible, not impossible. Like when I first started working and I was working under my boss, I would always say like, oh my God, teach me how to do that intricate, like that intricate style, that intricate like highlight you just did. Like I just seen you do a bunch of foils. Like, and she was really good and thorough with teaching me, but I really wanted to learn. So she loved teaching me. So that was just seeing the intricate stuff. Like I love details. I'm all about details, but maybe too
Yeah.
much sometimes. I'm like, okay, like wigs are fun because I get to take my time.
Where do you find inspiration like outside of the salon?
Okay, like I love looking at little girls' hair. Like little girls'
Yeah.
hair, like and I actually learned that from a stylist. His name's George Papa Nicholas. I took like a few of his classes, a couple of his hands-on classes. He works for Matrix actually, and I've been a fan of him since like 2012. A really long time. I traveled to New York to go take his class in 2012, and it was amazing. I love him. Anyways, his inspiration, which soon became my inspiration right after he enlightened me, was little girls. Like just seeing their like highlights, and they have different kinds of highlights. Like you can tell when a girl wore their hair in a ponytail all summer because she had all around her face real light and that shadow right in the middle. So just
Yeah.
mimicking that, and then the girls that wear their hair down, it just had that like surface, and then when move around you see the dark underneath. It was beautiful. It was just natural looking, timeless really.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have a daughter who's 6 years old, and I do the same thing. I'm always digging through her hair and looking at her natural
Right,
highlights. Yeah. It's
beautiful.
kind of creepy, but yeah. Yeah.
It's like you cannot like you can't make that up. It's just like so
Yeah,
beautiful and it's timeless. It's never gonna go away.
right. Exactly.
I try to mimic that in these natural these blues and like I try to mimic the
Yeah,
naturals with the vivids.
definitely. So, how long do you think it took for you to actually start to feel successful?
Well, I got a little lucky. For some reason, it just always stumbled. I always stumbled in the right spot. Like I was actually go-go dancing right after high school, and I stopped going to cosmetology school because I didn't have structure in my life, and I couldn't pay for it, so it was free during ROP. It was all um, the budget. It wasn't the budget cut yet. And so by the time I got out of high school, I was just a free bird. My freedom was golden to me, and I was go-go dancing. I was making a little bit of money here, a little money there, but I actually got into modeling through go-go dancing. And then I made a model mayhem, and my boss, my future boss at the time, I didn't know she was gonna be my boss, and she hired me for a hair extension gig for modeling for it. I even got to go to Italy and everything.
Well,
But me and her became real close. I even moved in with her. She became like my mom because she had no kids.
yeah,
So it was really cool. I really, and I'm still really close with her. Her name's Nona. She owns a salon in
yeah.
Brea, California.
Nice. So,
Yeah, it was awesome.
so how long, like, once you started doing hair, when did you feel accomplished? When did you feel like, you're getting somewhere in this industry?
Okay, well, my first salon I worked on was 35% commission,
Wow.
50% off your first time. And the first time maybe like, and it wasn't even about the money, but at the time I was young, I was 19, so I didn't really like have any like really important bills or anything. So that wasn't bothering me. But I was getting a lot of clients because of that, like because of this 50% off your first time. That's what we advertised. We advertised and it was huge in Brea. So oh man, my boss actually had to fire someone, and she was one of the busiest ones in the salon, and she had makeup clients. She had all these things booked, and I had been assisting her for like less than 4 months, and she said, "You have to take her clients." And I was like, "Oh no!" I was so nervous. I was shaking, and I was so slow. I wanted to take my time on things. Like it was just really, really nerve wracking. But it took me a long time. I was 5 years commission with that, like slowly growing up to like 45% commission. But I worked such long hours that the money like definitely came in.
Yeah.
But when I started becoming really successful is when I left commission. Once I left commission and I did rental, and I was just like, whoa, what? What is this? Oh my God, that's so crazy. I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe how much but it was more responsibility obviously. But that was when
Yeah.
I felt really successful, and I could carry my own weight, and had two assistants, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really great. So, do you
Yeah.
get to travel a lot then for your work now with being an educator?
Well, yes, I do. I traveled like this past year. I traveled with Manic Panic. I was dating Hair Godzito. I'm just kidding. I was dating Ricky for 3 years now, so I was already traveling with him, and I was like helping him out a lot with the shows. So at first that was very hard. It was very like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. I just
Yeah.
started dating this guy. But after getting a hang of like how he worked and like working with him, living with him every day, it made it easier for me to be around that and to go to the shows and stuff. And I love doing my own thing too. It's nice. I love
Yeah.
helping though as well. I love helping out wherever I can, because then I just feel good about being able to help. Like it just
Yeah.
relieves stress.
Yeah.
But then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, like I don't want to mess up.
So, what types of fears did you have, like as you were going through the industry, or did something come across you, maybe stage work or something like that, that was difficult for you to overcome?
Yes, absolutely. The stage thing, oh my gosh, at first, because I get nervous and I say things sometimes like really fast and then I say just kidding, like, and then I'm just like, why did I say that? But then I learned like just to record myself and like talk about it, like talk about what, like talk to someone about what I want to talk about, just keep continuously like talking about what I need to talk about, so I could just like, you know so I could just feel comfortable about talking to someone, explaining it to someone. If I just look at the audience, um, as if I'm teaching someone, like my assistants, I had two, and I had to control, or not control, coordinate
Yeah.
like my in between, like my double booking and stuff, and they were really good at it. It was really nice how they worked. But I would just thought like I was teaching them, like when I'd show them how to do something, and yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said that. Somebody told me one time, because I used to get really nervous, like camera shy, like as soon as somebody would put like camera in my face or like 12 phones in my face at a hair show, I would get kind of like, whoa. And somebody told me one time, you're not looking at the camera, you're looking through it to the people on the other side. And
Hmm.
that stuck with me, that helped me so much. So sometimes it's just like perspective, right? Just like a little
That's
shift in
really
perspective.
that's really good advice, actually. Like I've never heard that advice, and I could see how it's like because you're so nervous, you're just like at a block. But if you look like
Yeah.
just like over yonder way, just look that
Yeah.
way. Like
Yeah.
it's good. I feel like if I get nervous, I need to accept the fact that I'm nervous, and then other people can relate to it.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
yeah, they like the honesty. Like if someone's like, if I'm like trying to act like I'm not nervous, then I feel like I can't even like be myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why we ask all of our podcast guests that question, because it's such a real thing. You show up and you do these hair shows and you look larger than life to so many people. And I think it's important for them to know that you're human and that, you have also had some fears that you've had to overcome, and they can do the same.
Exactly. I'm always afraid my wig's gonna be showing or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, please someone tell me if my hair's popping out. Like if I don't know, if you're up for it, maybe at the end I'll take it off and be like, woo. I'm just
Right.
kidding.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You don't even
So,
know what's under here. I'm just
right.
kidding.
So, what do you do to bring like calmness into your life?
I love to do like tarot cards. I just recently got into them this past year. Like just studying the different archetypes of just the human personalities. Because it's not necessarily, to me, I don't see it like telling the future. I see it as like just interpretations of like characteristics of people and situations. And if you relate to it, then there's a message for you. If you don't, then you probably feel good. Just kidding. If you don't
Yeah.
relate to it, you're probably not going through like much. That is good. And so, but when you're going through something and you hear something like that, you could really relate with it, and it gives good advice and insight. And it's really about how you connect with it, not necessarily what someone's going to tell you about the future or something like that. But
Yeah.
I'm just learning the cards right now.
So
So
what made
it
you
brings
want to do that?
calmness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. It's really actually odd how we got into all this spirituality, because I was always like open to it, but I never really like fully immersed myself into like a spiritual I don't know, spiritual awakening kind of sense. Like I feel like I'm becoming awakened because I'm seeing synchronicities. I know it means something, and that's all that matters is that I know it means something. And when I tell someone about it and I get like a weird response, I'm just like, oh shoot, okay, I know that I feel this way, so it's okay that they feel that way. But I feel like it's something special. So like it is something special. So
Yeah.
there's certain things that I just can really connect with, and it really calms me down because before I do a reading, I like for someone, I look at their transits and astrological transits. So I look at what's happening in the sky in comparison to their birth chart, and I really have to meditate on it. So it gets me inside their energy, like what they're going through. And then when I pull the cards, I can tell a story a little bit better. It's really cool.
Wow, that is really cool. So do you feel like you saying like you get inside their energy? Can you feel like inside of their energy? Can you kind of feel where they're at sometimes?
If I dedicate my time to like an hour of just like getting in their energy and like I like looking at the transits. Like I like looking at like what's going on in their world because astrology is really like, the sun gives us life, but so does all the other planets. So it's like
Yeah.
the sun isn't really a planet, it's a star, but like it's still all the universe. So it's really interesting to learn about it and just to be open-minded about it.
Yeah, that actually is really, I never really even thought about that before. So that is very interesting.
It brings a lot of stillness to my life because I'm just so crazy sometimes. I like
Yeah,
rambunctious.
I think we all need some stillness. So that's,
Yes, it's like working on ourselves. Like I know there's some skeptics with the scientists out there, like this, the physicists, what are they called? Physics guys? Hold on, they're called no,
like physiologists.
physicists. The physicists, yeah, those guys. They're like, oh, astrology, science. Like they're not. It's not proven by science, but it's like science hasn't proved anything to astrology either because you can't even find consciousness. Where's it at? You don't know. Give me your
Yeah.
scientific formula for consciousness.
Yeah, right. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's funny though, but I love it.
It's interesting to me because as hairdressers, we have so many different things that we're involved in and interested in, and we all connect to people. We all connect to energy, like what you're saying, and all this stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
you can feel that. And so it's so interesting to do this podcast and talk to people and see where else their mind is and where their thoughts are. So that's really fun. Thank you for sharing that.
Very true. I've noticed a lot of the hairdressers because this chart is like this. You have the left side, you have different hemispheres and you have different quadrants. So there's 4 quadrants and 2 hemispheres. There's this kind of hemisphere up and down, and there's side to side hemisphere. I don't know Eastern, Western, I forget, my correct terms, but the quadrants are going to tell you like if you have a lot of planets on this side, then you're more motivated by other people. If you have more planets on this side, you're more motivated on your own, like other people distract you. If you have a lot of planets underneath the horizon, then you're more like comfortable, you're not really out of your shell, you're introverted. If you have planets above the horizon, you're very extroverted in the public, you need the public's like attention. Because down there is your roots, up there is like your social status. So it's really interesting to see a lot of hairdressers actually that I've been doing readings for are like, they have a lot of like other people. They're really outside of themselves and they're really like, all their energy is going out, but they need to like bring it in just to
Yeah.
balance out the chart.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now, what about you? Where do you fall on the chart?
Oh, well, my chart is like, I got 5 planets on this side, 5 planets on this side, and they're opposing each other. They're crazy. Those little guys. I'm just kidding. They're actually huge. But it's like Cancer, Capricorn, and then I have Aquarius rising, and my moon is in Scorpio in my midheaven, really high conjunction with Pluto, like which rules Scorpio. So it's insane, super emotional, like really. But
Yeah.
it also, the moon has a lot to say about your mother, and the midheaven has a lot to say about your father. So like my moon being in my midheaven, conjunction with Pluto, has a lot to say about my mom and like a lot of like the darkness of Pluto. That my mom has had a really hard upbringing, and she has 7 kids, with 5 different people, and she's kind of like a victim all the time.
Mm.
Um, I love her to death, and I miss her so much, and I wish she would come out of wherever she's at. But she's kind of like, she's just doing her thing right now. So
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
happens.
I'm sure there's listeners, that have something similar to that. And so you talking about it, not being afraid to talk about it, I'm sure is really powerful for a lot of people. So if somebody was in your shoes or been through something what you've been through and you've gotten so far within the industry, what advice would you give them? How do they get from where they are to where you are now today?
Well, my advice would be to do something for something other than yourself. Like that's what motivates me. Like my siblings, because my youngest one is 8. Then I have, younger ones. I'm the second oldest is 7. So they've always motivated me. And my mom has always motivated me too, because she's always needed my help my whole life. Like ever since I started working, it's like, Mom, I got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But then it was kind of like I shouldn't have like what's it called? When you
Like enable?
yes, that one.
Yeah.
I enabled her a lot. So she started really expecting things from me. And then it's like my fault that she's where she is, type of thing. And I'm just like, you know what? Oh, everyone was right. I shouldn't have done it. But like, I've always wanted to do that, but it actually helped me. So it was a selfish, non-selfish thing because I was like, okay, this is driving me. I got to provide, I got to provide for my siblings. I got to help financially only. I didn't give as much time as I'd like.
Yeah.
But yeah, like anytime it's like, okay, what do you need? Like I got you as long as it's something you need, if it's do or die. But that really motivated me and it still does to this day. I try to think about my family and I'm just like, okay, what can I do to better myself for them? And so I think that I mean, you could say the opposite and say you need to do it for yourself in order to like succeed. But if you really, really, really want to contribute to humanity and your siblings, then you definitely like want to be a part of like that group, and just want to contribute, and it really helps. 'Cause then you're not
Yeah.
alone. You're a part of something.
Yeah. I think you are such a good example of strength. I think that you've shown us
Mm.
a lot of um, positivity. You
Aw.
have, I'm not in the room with you, but you have such a way about you, like a vibe. You're very, I don't know, you're very fun to talk to. You're very
Oh, thanks.
easygoing. Yeah. You're such a,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
You're
And
making me blush.
yeah. But, I'm so glad that, you're on here and you're telling your truth and you really are inspiring and helping people because some people get stuck and they feel like they can't get past certain things and you're proof that you can, just keep pushing whatever the reason may be. So I'm so glad that you're, sharing all that with us.
I feel like I have a confession to make. I'm always negative. I'm always complaining. But you know what? That's good because I don't hold it in. Like I
Release.
have to say it. I gotta say it. Like right like if I hold it in, it's horrible. It's terrible for everybody. Like and even if I say it, it's terrible for everybody. But just let me say it. Like let me just complain about something. It's okay to complain. Like let me just like be miserable for a second because it's okay. But um yeah, I'm not positive at all. Just kidding. But like everybody, by all means, be positive. Just kidding. But seriously, if something's bothering someone or someone wants to talk about something, I think it's very, very important to let it out and just let it go. Let it
Yeah.
fly out there. Like there's not enough room in here for all that, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's all vibrations and frequencies, and our thoughts are our reality. And if we hold on to these negative thoughts, our reality is that like we're just angry and we want to throw something at someone,
Right.
which I probably do sometimes want to do that. But like just be honest with yourself and just let it go, you know?
So yeah, I'm with you. I'm like that too, and I don't know if that's a good thing to be honest, but I'm the same way. I have to get it off my chest. I have to
Mhm.
just say what I have to say and be done with it. A lot of people they hold on to it, they try to make it not a big deal, not a big deal, and then it builds up and then they explode. I just have little explosions here and there,
That's great.
and then I never think about it again. It's off my chest. I'm over it.
That's the best way because our spirit is actually controlling our karma. Like that's our spirit. That's our spirituality body or whatever you want to call it. That's our spirit body. Because if we're not good to our spirit, then bad things are going to manifest. And if we, you know, who cares what anybody thinks? Who cares? They don't
Yeah.
matter, because, you know, all these people, they're not going to be there when you leave. You are going to
Yeah.
be there when you leave, and you are going to be there for yourself. So if I never think it's wrong to talk about anything personal. To me, I love personality.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get like vibes, like I maybe come off too strong. Like sometimes with some people I'm close to, so I'm like, okay, I gotta respect their boundaries as well, because they want to be positive. They want to think about things like positive, and they want to keep their day like going and just not be bogged down. And I have to like respect that as well. But then I know who I can let loose on, who I can
Yeah.
unload on, like a filled up dresser or filled up cabinet that's waiting to be opened, like
Yeah.
filled to the brim.
I don't
Some
know.
people you can't do that.
You just talking to you, and of course I don't know you, you know, but just talking to you, you do seem like a ray of sunshine. You
Aw,
really do.
thanks.
I don't know if you don't see it, but I can see it very much. There's just definitely
I just
great
hope that
stuff.
everyone, thank you. I just hope that everyone can like try to be themselves, even if it's not like what other people like think is right.
Yeah, I
Because
love
a lot
that.
of times I feel like, dang it, I shouldn't have said that, this and that. But then I'm like, no, I should have said that because I wanted to, and that's all that matters. But
Yeah.
you know, you learn because something happens, and you're just like, oh, now I'm in the gutter. I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Well, Briza, thank you so much for being a guest today. I realize that time is so valuable, so I appreciate you sharing your time with us
Of course,
today.
anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anytime. Yeah, I would love to anytime.